Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're setting up a massive investigation into the 4,500-year-old architectural and scientific puzzles of the Giza Plateau. If you love discovering how modern science is completely pulling back the curtain on ancient history, you are absolutely in the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. For millennia, the Great Pyramid, which is literally the last standing wonder of the ancient world, has weathered the ravages of time and watched civilizations rise and fall. But what makes this so incredibly captivating today is that we can actually look at the Giza Plateau as a massive historical crime scene. And right now, equipped with some insanely cutting-edge technology, modern science is finally cracking some of the world's oldest cold cases, looking straight past those stone facades and into the unknown.
Here's how we're going to tackle this today. First up, the hidden voids inside the Great Pyramid. Then, we'll look at the secrets of the star shafts, move on to the highly debated Orion correlation theory, and finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the geology used for dating the Great Sphinx.
All right, part one, voids in the Great Pyramid, and how we're uncovering hidden spaces without picking up a single shovel.
It is honestly mind-blowing to think that after centuries of exploration, we are still finding major hidden structures inside this monument. Since we obviously can't just drill into a 4,500-year-old World Heritage Site, how exactly do we look inside a mountain of solid stone? Well, the answer is muon tomography. It's essentially like taking a giant cosmic X-ray of the pyramid. This is an esoteric, highly advanced technique that tracks the fallout from cosmic rays hitting Earth's atmosphere. Dr. Kunihiro Morishima and his team from Nagoya University use this non-invasive tech to track rock density. You see, muons are kind of like heavy electrons. They can pass through solid matter, but eventually they get absorbed. By placing detectors around the pyramid and measuring how those muons are absorbed from different angles, scientists can literally triangulate and map out empty spaces hidden deep in the rock.
And what they found was absolutely staggering. The team discovered a massive void inside the pyramid, with a volume of roughly 800 cubic meters. To put that into perspective, it's about 30 meters long, which is basically the exact same size as the Great Pyramid's famous Grand Gallery. It sits right above the Queen's chamber. Now, because muon tomography is, a pretty low-resolution technique, the exact shape of this void is still a tantalizing mystery. Is it one giant hallway, several smaller rooms? We don't know yet, but it really forces us to ask, what else have we completely underestimated about the engineering capabilities of the ancient world?
Let's move to our second section and see how this builds. Secrets of the star shafts and the robotic exploration of ancient channels.
So, aside from that huge void, the Great Pyramid also has these insanely narrow ducts, we're talking maybe 20 centimeters wide, shooting out from the king's and queen's chambers. Exploring these queen chamber shafts has been a crazy, decades-long tech saga. Back in 1993, a tiny robot named Upuwat crawled up the southern shaft and famously found a small stone door with copper pins blocking the way. Fast forward to 2002, the Pyramid rover mission actually drilled through that southern door. They found just a small empty space behind it, but more importantly, they reached the end of the opposing northern channel and found a second identical door. Then in 2011, the Jetty robot poked around the space behind the southern door and revealed ancient red ochre workers' marks. And now, well, the whole archaeological world is holding its breath for the next big robotic mission anticipated in 2026.
Which brings us to the ultimate mystery box question. What is actually hiding behind that northern channel door? I mean, it's been over 20 years since the Pyramid rover first spotted it, and nobody's ever seen what lies beyond it. Is it just a dead end, or a doorway to something way bigger? Researchers have a few leading theories here. The most likely scenario, based on what we saw in the southern shaft, is that it's just another small, empty space, maybe with some more of those red ochre marks left by the builders. Some folks speculate it might directly connect to that newly discovered big void we just talked about. Though to be fair, current muon mapping suggests they don't quite line up. Others are dreaming of finding a secret, undiscovered chamber. And of course, the eternal hope persists among some Egyptologists that it might somehow lead to the hidden mummy of Pharaoh Khufu himself. Though, yeah, Indiana Jones probably isn't taking bets on that one just yet.
All right, Section 3, the Orion correlation theory. Do the pyramids actually mirror the stars?
Let's step outside the pyramid for a minute and look at the layout of the Giza Plateau as a whole. For years, there's been this highly debated theory that the ancient Egyptians intentionally aligned the three main pyramids to mirror the stars of the Orion belt, which they heavily associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. But here's the catch. To make this celestial correlation work, matching the pyramids of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure to the stars Almatak, Al-Nilam, and Mintaka, you literally have to take this celestial map, rotate it 180 degrees, and then tilt it 15.3 degrees.
Proponents of the theory argue that this 180-degree rotation actually makes perfect sense because ancient Egyptians likely oriented their maps with south at the top since the Nile River flows down from the south.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the hard astronomical data, because the results are incredibly polarizing. On the pro-correlation side, astrophysicists found that the alignment difference between the pyramids and the stars is a mere 2.5 arcminutes. That is brilliant because the absolute minimum error margin for human naked eye observation is about 3 arcminutes. This means the builders positioned the pyramids as perfectly as humanly possible for that era. But on the anti-correlation side, critics point out that if you extend the celestial map to other really prominent stars in the Orion constellation, like Siph or Bellatrix, there are absolutely 0 matching pyramid monuments on the ground, which strongly argues against the existence of a broader unified master plan.
Moving on to our final geological puzzle, Section 4, Dating the Great Sphinx, Water versus Wind.
Sitting there as the silent sentinel of the necropolis, the Sphinx presents an entirely different kind of mystery, and this one is written directly into the rock. It's the center of a really fierce geological debate over its true age. On one side, some geologists suggest an older Sphinx, dating way back to somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 BC. They point to the smooth, undulating, wide fissures on the Sphinx and its enclosure walls, arguing that those are classic signs of water erosion from centuries of heavy rainfall and glacial melts at the end of the last ice age. But on the other side, mainstream Egyptologists hold to the traditional view of 2500 BC, during the reign of Khafre. They argue that the ragged erosion we see is actually the result of wind, water-saturated sand, and severe Nile flash floods. Plus, they emphasize that the surrounding 4th Dynasty artifacts and the nearby Khafre stela strongly anchor the monument to 2500 BC.
But wait, because the written evidence makes this timeline even messier. There's this controversial artifact called the Inventory Stela, found in the 19th century, which explicitly claims that Pharaoh Khufu, who actually ruled before Khafre, discovered the Sphinx already built. The catch? The hieroglyphics on the stela date to around 1000 BC, which is long after the events it's describing. Mainstream scholars tend to write it off as historical fiction from a later era, while others argue it could be a genuine copy of much older authentic records.
So the crucial point is that these aren't just dusty old cold cases. They are actively being investigated today. Renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass recently hyped up the upcoming exploration, saying, "This great discovery is a new 30-meter-long passageway detected using advanced equipment, which ends at a door that will rewrite a chapter in the history of the pharaohs." He is teasing a massive robotic reveal slated for 2026, targeting these exact hidden spaces we've been talking about.
Which leaves us with a massive question to end today's explainer. Will the upcoming 2026 revelations finally close the book on Giza's cold cases? Or, like the shifting sands of the Sahara, will the new data we find simply open an entirely new chapter of ancient mysteries? One thing is absolutely for certain. As modern technology peers deeper into these 4,500-year-old stones, the Giza Plateau still has plenty of secrets left to tell. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.